Have you ever looked at a cruise planner and thought, well, maybe I should add that too? You start adding specialty dining, the drink package, Wi-Fi, the spa, and before you know it, your cruise that seemed like a great deal suddenly cost you a whole lot more than you planned. The thing is, after quite a few cruises, I've learned that some cruise extras are worth it for one type of cruiser and skippable for another. Hey cruisers, today we're going through the cruise extras that come up the most. And instead of just telling you yes or no, I want to break it down who each one is actually for, so you can decide which one fits you the way you like to cruise. Oh, and if you're into honest cruise tips from someone who actually cruises a lot, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. I'd love to have you here. Okay, let's start with probably one of the biggest cruise decisions out there, the drink package. For us, it really depends on the length of the cruise. On a 3 and 4 day cruise, it's much easier to justify. You're only paying for a few days, so the overall price is a lot lower. But once you start looking at a 7-day cruise, that package can really stack on the price. If you know you're going to enjoy cocktails, specialty coffees, bottled water, sodas throughout the day, it's a nice convenience. But if you're not sure you'll actually use it enough, that's the real question to ask yourself. When it comes to cabin upgrades, I always compare the upgrade price with what it would have cost if I'd booked the cabin from the beginning. If you can get a good price, it could be a fantastic deal. But if you find that you're paying more than what you would have booked the cabin outright, that's a good sign to book it from the start next time. And here's one people don't always know. If you win a bid upgrade on, say, Royal Caribbean, you only earn the Crown Anchor points based on your original cabin category, not the upgrade one. So if those points matter to you, booking the higher category from the start is the one way to actually get those extra points for it. Bottom line, run the math before you upgrade. And if the points matter to you, factor that in too. This one specifically is for NCL, and it's the Haven Upgrade. If you've watched my Luna videos, you already know we won a bid in the Haven. Honestly, I wasn't sure what to expect. But after we experienced it for ourselves, I completely understood why people love it. The private restaurant, the quieter atmosphere, priority embarkation, it's huge for me, the concierge. It made that cruise that we were on completely different. Now, would I pay full price for the Haven every time? Probably not. But if you can get it on a low bid, I think it's worth the experience, at least once. Just be warned, you may find yourself wanting to cruise that way again and again. Oh, and let's talk about the food. We love all the food on board. And yeah, we've gotten carried away trying every specialty restaurant before. By about day 4 of our cruise, I'm definitely slowing down on the food. So my thought on this is simple. Only book what you know you'll actually enjoy. If you love trying new restaurants and don't mind the extra spend, it's a great way to mix up the week. If you're someone who slows down by day 3 or 4 like we do, maybe 1 or 2 specialty restaurants is all you really need. Bottom line, book what excites you, not everything on the menu. Wi-Fi is actually one of the easier decisions for us. I like being connected at sea, and Sean often has work he needs to respond to. If staying reachable matters to you, it's worth having. If you're looking to fully disconnect, this one might be an easy one for you to skip. Now, this one's a little different from just Wi-Fi. Internet streaming really comes down to whether you'll actually use it in your downtime in your cabin. We enjoy watching movies in our cabin and surfing the web on sea days or during downtime between activities. If you know you'll be camping out in your cabin for a movie or two, it's a nice thing to have because you don't have to pay for those extra videos. But if you're going to be out doing activities most of the day, you probably won't use it enough to justify the cost. Bottom line, it depends on how much time you'll actually spend in your cabin or during downtime between activities. We book both cruise line excursions and DIY depending on the port. If it's a port I'm unfamiliar with, the excursion gives me that extra layer of comfort that we like. But if it's an easy port to explore on our own, we'll often DIY it and save the money. For us, we usually go for individual spa services instead. We enjoy those more. And let's talk about that thermal spa. This is a big one. But if you know you'll actually use the thermal suite every day of your cruise, it can absolutely be worth it. Okay, this one is about NCL as well, and it's the Vibe Beach Club, and it's a good one to really think through. If you want to avoid the crowds, want a kid-free environment, and like fast bar service, and you're selling somewhere warm, I think it can be worth it. If you're cruising somewhere colder where you're not spending much time outside, that's a harder sell. And here's something worth knowing. I was surprised. Not every Vibe Club has a dedicated bar right in that space. On some ships, drinks come from another bar outside of the area, so service can be a little slower. It's worth checking what your specific ship has related to the Vibe setup and what it looks like before you book. So if what you're really after is just a pool and a hot tub, the Vibe might not add up beyond what you've already have access to. And you know what? There's no swimming pool. They just have the jacuzzis. It seems like it would be an easy thing to add, but they just have the jacuzzis. This next one, I'm actually curious what you all think. Cabanas. If you've got a group of people and want a dedicated space for the day, they do look really nice. I'll be honest, I've never actually rented one myself. But if I had the right group and the right day, I think I would. So tell me in the comments if you've rented one before. Was it worth it for you? We don't buy the photo package anymore since we cruise quite often. But if you've never done it before, I think it's worth considering. The photographers do a genuinely wonderful job, and the photos come out looking professional, and it's a really nice way to capture your memories. We loved this tour. Seeing how the ship actually operates behind the scenes was genuinely fantastic. If you're curious how cruise ships really work, I'd recommend it. We like boarding early. It just helps our vacation start with less stress. If waiting in line doesn't bother you, this is an easy one to skip. Priority tender. This one can really be nice. Getting off the ship earlier gives you more time to actually enjoy the port. If tendering is part of your itinerary, this is one of the easier ones to justify. It can take a long time to get off the cruise ship during tender ports. The biggest thing I've learned after quite a few cruises is there's no one right list of extras that works for every cruiser. Everyone's answer is going to look a little different. And honestly, that's kind of the point. So here's what I'd love to know. Which one of these would you actually pay for? Let me know in the comments below. If this helped you plan your next cruise, give it a like and a subscribe. Thanks for watching. Smooth seas and happy sailings, my friends. Bye.